Hey everybody, happy Halloween. Welcome to Friday Dojo number 272. I'm Cameron. I want to invite anybody if they have anything they'd like to say today. There's a reaction button on the bottom taskbar. You can click there and find a hand icon. It says raised hand, and right there you can raise that or click that button and we'll call on you when it's your turn. I might have missed the last few seconds, James. When you said it was time to come over, I went ahead and clicked off just to get myself ready here. But a lot of exciting stuff today and all week. Really just excited to listen to more. If you have something else, if you'd like to continue, we could just, maybe if you'd like to just take over.
Yeah, feel free to raise your hand, guys. Anything else that's happening, but um, I, I first of all, I hope you enjoyed the show. I know that I may not always be on the same phase as where you guys are on how you see things, and policy is one of those things. It's one of the nice things about us not really having to do a lot of policy, but it is a great opportunity to see how energy is being channeled, and that really laws don't really mean much. And we could say that's just under the what honestly I've never seen a regime more a regime than than right now. Like I really do think it does fit the word legally in every category. I can't think of a single category it doesn't meet that regime. And I don't necessarily blame that on Trump as being Trump has taken over. I think that the entire system is always been some sort of a regime. It's just been a little bit murkier for us to see and to look at. And now that we have an 8K reality, we get to see it more clearly. And so, in a way, this is a very special time for us because we have the first cipher. We have the first virgin look at what this place looks like. And I think that's a very special place to be. Additionally, I think that all the QAnon stuff, quite frankly, would be the only way that you could even positively keep looking at it. I'm not saying that you have to believe in QAnon. That's not what I mean. I'm saying you have to believe in frequency pranksters. You have to believe that the like this MAGA kid that that was speaking um at the Turning Point event. Him asking why do we have to keep doing this with Israel? What is it about Israel? I wish I could have shown you Vance's answer. It was just so pathetic. I just thought it really disrespected what he was asking. And I don't want that kid to have an answer. That would ruin it. If that kid got an answer, he would just stay there and he would say, "We're the answer parties now. We've solved the answer." And it would just be rebranded. Watching the Tucker Fuentes interview, Nick Fuentes and Tucker Carlson both one would have been had to have been pure white KKK Nazi. I'm talking like Fuentes, and one would have had to have been pure Fox News Zionist cuck. And that now I can show you a spectrum between those guys, a very viable spectrum that has a lot of people on different steps of thought. And although I'm not trying to condone or even discondone anything, I'm hoping it'll be more looked at almost like as a mandala effect. In other words, the resolution grows, and now you have all these different hues of color in between. And those hues of separation actually, I think, give you a better image into the rising of psychology, because America First is as Zionistic, it's as Nazi, it's as patriotic as um as as any kind of consciousness would naturally grow into self-worth. That a nation that's always been a red heifer for another would finally learn enough dastardliness they would learn how to wring their own hands. But seriously, they would learn how to practice their own evil enough to finally have the righteousness to do something different. And as I've said, that think that this was what was happening in Germany, and it failed because they didn't have enough. I don't need it to succeed. I just need to see society keep trying. That's all I want. And as long as society keeps trying, I feel really good. I don't need a solution. I need effort. I'm the old gym coach, you know. I'm not, I don't want to fucking win shit. Like, you guys suck at baseball. Like, this is what I'd be like. You guys fucking suck at, like, seriously. James, you were watching Bumblebees. Remember? The ball came right to you. You literally, all you had to do was just like look and open the glove. You guys suck at baseball. We're not here to win baseball. That's not why we're here. Don't worry. You know, do you know the rules? Are you wandering around? Are you sort of watching the ball? Are you having fun? Do you know how to socially interact now? Because the whole thing's a Masonic triangle. The whole thing's a Masonic diamond. And so you're surrounded by all sides by a secret code. And when I watch these things happen, especially when things are so intense, I'm so lit up about the ice stuff. I didn't get to say this clear enough. If you add up the amount of people that have been executed by all 50 states for the past 2 years, if you add up that total number, it does not exceed how many people ICE has executed in the last 10 months. The amount of effort that we put into killing someone is gone. Free murder. And people are laughing about it. People think it's funny. People think you get what you deserved. They're relishing in it. Even the pro Venezuelan people, which I don't care if they're bots. I don't care if they're paid by her. It doesn't matter to me. Even if they're people that are like, I fucking hate this. Please let your dictator somehow fuck up my dictator, so that because your dictator is probably going to give me a better life. That's more than valid too. But at the end of the day, it's my military. I get to bitch when my military is violating laws. I get to be mad. I don't care how many people you think we're going to save. Fuck that. You do not understand what I'm saying. I will always be able to complain. You will always catch me complaining if we are offing people in public, regardless of how many people we think we're saving. If this is such a righteous action, then convene Congress. Go to a guy from Colorado in a fucking sweater vest, and you're probably going to have to promise him something. Oh fuck, he's probably going to want like more national parks or some stupid thing that's so easy to do in order to get your war powers and play politics. And you're not playing politics because we do not have a political system. We don't. And how do you instill hope in that? I think you have to believe in merry pranksters. I think you have to believe in, man, Elon Musk. I would have covered this today. Elon Musk has never given a dime to Wikipedia, probably his whole life. I looked it up. I've given $66 to Wikipedia my entire life. That's like very paltry considering how much I use it. Elon Musk started Grokopedia. He doesn't want to give money to Wikipedia. He wants to start his own. And you know what he's going to do to start his own? He's going to just copy fucking Wikipedia. He's going to run around to Wikipedia and pull every single entry. He's going to call it Grokopedia. He's used the same name. He's used the same layout. This is who these people are. This is who it is. And the white sun, I think, is showing you that. And man, this is going to burn like a bitch. You think that burns like a bitch? I think I think socialism is going to make a lot of sense right now. I think that the world is going to be like, hey, why don't we bash one of these billionaires against the wall and see if money comes out? And I'm just saying, we're going to bash someone against the wall. It's going to fucking happen. We're doing it right now anyway. And if you keep watching people like Musk behave that way, I don't see any other way around it. I think that guy's literally just like, "Can someone bash me against a fucking wall, please? Can someone please do that?" And then you're starting to realize, well, we could just drain a few of these every now and then. Isn't this what was happening in the EU with all the Russian oligarchs? We call them Russian oligarchs so we can take their yachts. And you have to take their yachts. The news report has to say you take their yachts. You can't take their business. You can't take their home. You have to take their yacht, right? Because if it's a yacht, this is going to be fine. Jesus was rebellious. Guy was Hamas. That's who fucking Jesus was. And as long as you put in enough of those words, you're going to be able to beat him up against the wall. See a hand.
Hey, Lori. Great to have you. What's up?
Well, I'm inspired, but I feel sick to my stomach um, from all of the truth in the room or something. So whenever I have a aperture opening, usually it comes with stuff I don't want to see. And the thing it's really hurting, that's opening this experience is watching the Netanyahu video that you put on. It was really telling because he showed up that Greater Israel map. That was earlier in the week. And then to think that we actually blew up all these countries and then made them not livable and then shipped them all over to Europe. And now Europe is Hamas. And it was just like the truth is so in the room, just like the predator has no clothes on. It's just there. And it just made me really sick, like really like physically ill. Like to see this, not to, I feel like I'm on a Titanic and people are moving around deck chairs, you know, and so yeah, I'm just fielding into that as I do this higher level of work in these upper levels of this is blocked by illusion and this is blocked by bound thinking. So if you cannot get out of your illusion, truth and lies, illusion, or discernment and blocked by bound thinking, and you have to come out of attachment here. So in order to get there, you have to be able to mind a gap in your rainbow serpent light. And maybe, the way through it is to get that level of, true the sickness of like, oh yeah, building 7. Yeah. That's where all the money, the proof of all that billions of dollars of the secret money was in that building. Nobody knows that. Rumsfeld came on the day before, and then all of a sudden, poof, gone. All of it's gone. Now we don't even focus on that anymore. Now we're focused over here, and over here, and over here. And it's okay just to kill people in broad daylight? You know? I don't know. It just feels like a memory, like I've been here before, numerous times, and it's making me really feel sick. So that's all I got.
It's great stuff. I'm gonna just jump in real quick, Cameron. The I think that the disgust that you see with BB, it's also really enlightening the way you said he's almost leading the pushing the evil out so he can point at it there in the next place. That's really, really, really well thought out. And if we remember what our friend Pedro told us in chat the other day, that in Rio de Janeiro, it was just yesterday, like probably like 60 or 100. It was a lot, right? Like a lot of people were gunned down in the latest drug war. I looked up a few more. A fishing village in Ecuador, I think. Some dude just unloaded on like 46 people. It was like a gang war. Came in, decided that we're just going to kill everyone in this town. Um, these kinds of firecrackers are, we're not used to these sounds. And when we see BB like that, the fact that you're seeing how disgusting that is, you're looking directly into the white sun, and it's supposed to feel like that. It if it didn't look like that, it would mean that we're gone. It would mean that we would be like that Israeli soldier I showed you about that told you how good the food was, as she was talking about what everything else happens around her. So the disgust is the final alliance. It's our most crucial line, our most crucial front is that form of disgust, and we're looking at something that is so much more sinister in that way, and no one's been able to look at it before. The clarity of the group wasn't enough to where it was able to see it. A lot of people had to check out first so that the new psyche could take over. I really feel like that's happening. And I just want to say really quick that there's a saying that Israel is last, and it really makes a lot of sense. Just as Bibi is using the refugees to constantly point to where he wants to take over land next, so too is the Luciferian awakening using Bibi to do the exact same thing. You actually don't know who killed Charlie Kirk. Please just hear me on a sec. It could have been a lone gunman. That's very likely. It seriously could. It could have been Israel. A lot of people were like, yeah, it was probably Israel. It could have been a dude in the CIA. And that dude in the CIA wasn't doing it because everything was fucked. I mean, because he wanted everything to be fucked. He already knew everything was fucked. And that he could have saw an opportunity to inspire the same thing. And I think that we are looking truly at probably the closest example we can ever have to what truly happened to Jesus. How that was an event. Even the mythology of the event, guys, it doesn't matter. The fact that people believe that, we are seeing through directly into the lighthouse, directly at that source right now. And it would have to feel like this, the same way if you were looking at an angel and he's like, dude, you're going to melt your face off, turn away. And you're like, I can't turn away. You're like, dude, if you don't turn away, you're going to melt your face off. And this is exactly what's happening. You're not supposed to melt your face off. And I'll tell you something, if we didn't feel this way, there would be no reason for us to be here. If we weren't disgusted by this, it would all be over. We would just join in. We would just become that. So in a way, it's kind of showing you how much innocence is still there and how powerful it is that it's able to still preserve itself in this nested area of the turtle shell just long enough for this one time to where even under the Turning Point army of Christian nationalists that are being assembled in every college, in every high school right now as we talk, that within them are an infiltrated bunch of immigrants, of people that are touching the soil, and the things are awaking in them that they're not even aware of yet. And I think it's a good thing to focus on. I really do. That's all I got.
Thanks, James. And thank you also, Lori. I loved how you mentioned the rainbow serpent. And you really touched on a lot of paradoxes, as James has done and has been working through all week. You talked about the hindbrain being bound. And what did you say about the four? Could you repeat that again?
It's illusion.
It's an illusion. Yes. Okay. Thank you. That's what I thought. I didn't want to speak incorrectly. Please continue if you'd like to.
Yeah. So when you wake up to that, discernment is the opposite of illusion. Illusion. So when you discern, you have to open up an aperture in order to get there. You can't just be in this illusion. So that's why I was like, we're on a Titanic and people are moving around deck chairs. It's something is dying in order for something to be reborn, but we have to come out of this illusion. And having disillusionment sometimes is the way to get out of illusion, and then, and it hurts to break, all paradigm and to walk away from consensual reality. And pretty much, James, you were saying on your live today that if you had a big following, you wouldn't be able to break the illusion, because it's like security is part of this illusion. Because if you're a forever being, there is no such thing as death. So actually we're dead now and we live when we die, right? We go back to the wholeness when we die. And so all this fear, you wouldn't be motivated by that. So this illusion, and then, but it's so tricky to get into that consensual reality to think, well, I was just like, what would I do if I had millions and millions of dollars? What would you do now if you had that with what you know? I mean, how would you change it in the system that we're in right now? So I'm just asking a whole bunch of questions. I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah. I actually have ideas, and none of them are legal. None of them are morally acceptable. And all of them would technically hurt someone, but not in a mortal way, not in a way that would not. Brad knows what I'm talking about. Like I know Renee, I mean, all you guys do. I don't think you'd be here without it. So, but also I've recognized how important it is that I don't have that, that I don't, that I, and if it happens, it'll happen. And that would be part of it would be all part of it, I think. The fact that this kid did that in front of JD Vance, in front of everyone else that's in Turning Point. He wasn't the only one, by the way. He's the only one that gets to bloom that day. If someone else came right behind it and said, "Hey, I think that too," I mean, it's sadly you're not going to get as much of a bloom from that. But that's psychological, I'm afraid. Just like the fifth son, just like Quetzalcoatl, who's like, "Look, if Oxalot or whatever, if you're not going to jump in, I will." And it's stealing all that glory, is stealing all that consciousness, that awakening sort of thing. So you have to imagine that the only way one of us could bloom is if it was surrounded by a colony of fucking Nazi sleepers, like skinwalkers. And that if you have 100 skinwalkers, all of that might could be focused into one central dandelion that whose purpose is to blow up and explode and spread those spores to everywhere else, right? So it should look this way. One Jedi, 100 whatevers, stormtroopers, right? One Jedi for every 100 stormtroopers is a net positive. It's a net positive. Weird, right?
James and Lori again. Brad, appreciate you raising your hand and keeping it raised. Go ahead.
Oh yeah, man, definitely great stuff, guys. Uh, I think that the interesting thing, like in the time that we're in now, and it's very sort of quick and accelerating, that I don't know that some of these things could happen like in slower news cycles, right? In earlier times, could there be like, for example, the Kirk shooting happens, and it's really big, but there's so much other big stuff right behind it. It's almost like it's just blitzkrieg of so people don't really even have time to sit with. And I think the reason there's not a whole, like a lot of people, there's not a real depth to their reaction to these things, right? So the folks that are celebrating Snap and celebrating the ice deaths, right? Like those people in particular right now, right? It's like it happens so fast, and it's like I think people we naturally are trying to sort of hold on to our identity because, like you mentioned, the Titanic, Lori, it's kind of like you feel it going down and that needs to die so that this other thing can be reborn. And what we're talking about, of course, is the self, right? The integrated self to be born. But in order to do that, that other part, yeah. And these people in this particular group, for example, like I see it almost as like a such a surface level try to make themselves feel good about themselves because there's the depth in them is just terrified. And I think that's kind of why I see the reaction being like the reason that they would celebrate things that anyone who would take just a moment to step back and look at it, like the fact that you have mercenaries walking the streets in this country killing people, and that people just don't see it as that like instantly. Do you know what I mean? That there's even this headspace where you can create this weird space that this is somehow normal and somehow jives with what you already think you are because these MAGA folks would like to imagine themselves this way, right? But it doesn't take 2 seconds to step outside of that and see that it completely contradicts itself. And so I really do think that the almost the reason for the speed of all this is almost it is kind of funneling out the folks on the Titanic who are or see the Titanic going down and the folks who are not ready to see that. You know what I mean? And they just spiral out, which is ironic that they sit there and try and take down things with them like they say they follow Jesus or love Jesus, and it's so clearly you can tell it's like there's no connection there whatsoever. Do you know what I'm saying? But yeah, that's all I got for right now.
You could see every ICE agent as like a sleeper cell that if we wanted to wake up more, if the turtle felt it's time to wake up more, then you would want to have a bunch of ICE agents that go around and act like Nazis for the sole purpose of having the community be able to shame the shit out of them for the rest of their life. That if you had that, that would insert, it would squeeze out the juices of, hey, don't be a Nazi, and finish the garden with that nutrient of, holy fuck, we can't have this here. Look, this entire time we've had this nutrient that loves this idea of, let's have open season on fucking migrants. Let's do that. Don't we want to know that? Says the garden. Don't we want to find that in the soil and bring it to the surface and use the magnetics of the rain, of just fucking blitzkrieg rain, to pull that nutrients up to the top as ions, and to have those ions somehow be tillable in some way, but only if we want it. Only if we want it. So the turtle is constantly giving you the nutrients you need to effect change. And she's giving you the entire scepter, the entire orb and scepter of, do you want to do it? Do you want a world that has less Nazi or more? And truly moving the migrants all through Europe makes that question come up. The terror that it invokes, the terror that's been spread even to here, even the terror of having it. The idea that your way of life would be completely torn apart by the mixing of people from other places. Like, this is, and the only way that you could convince people that maybe this isn't such a bad thing is if what you had tasted a lot better than it used to. If it tasted a little bit more, this is fucking Bibi Netanyahu urine. That if you didn't have that flavor, there would be absolutely no way for any of this to change. So all the power is in our hands, but all the encouragement is coming through vitriol. And it's kind of beautiful. It's very frequency prankster. It's very Heyoka, you asked for it, you got it. Fuck around, find out is an alchemical equation, is it not, Cameron? Wouldn't you say this is the principle of vitriol? To go into the depths of the mountain under the pressure of the most heavy rocks and find yourself, distill yourself, alchemize yourself, all the other words in the word vitriol that I can't think of right now. It's a meme of alchemy. That's all I got.
I think so. I think that, alchemically speaking, or speaking of vitriol, Lori talks about this being we feel like we're arranging the deck chairs in the Titanic, and I agree with that. And I think again of this serpent rainbow, and she's talking about, falling into this profound discernment, this white sun discernment, which relates again to what I thought about what you said about this serpentine presence, where if it was just left unadulterated by the hindbrain and the forethought, it would be like sensation strapped to the hood of a car, where you have no memory, you're just taking everything in. And I feel like we are going through that right now, especially in the sense, in terms of vitriol or alchemy. And this is a term I like to borrow from physical science, where repulsion is the truest test of magnetism. Our discernment is never more clear than when we feel repulsion or abhorrence to something we hate that we really know. I mean, that's as a person who is trying to build themselves up still in ways of sovereignty, even though I appreciate symbiosis, and that's where I'm ultimately going, I'm still trying to become more sovereign to be a better contributor to the symbiosis. I still am at the point where I don't know. I only know how to define myself really by how I'm not most of the time, what I'm not, and my cues about what I'm not oftentimes come from the horrifying shit that I'm seeing on TV all the time. And so I do feel like today, for example, James, you showed that footage of Stephen Miller's wife, I thought just with the clip, I thought it might have been Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. She looks kind of like that. She's sandwiched in between these two other people. She seems emboldened to say what she thinks, but but she's sandwiched between other people who have looks of horror on their face. Like, I think we were supposed to really be horrified by what she said. I really think that was what we were supposed to feel like that, and I do feel horrified by what she said, and it was on the nose. But again, feels like we're on the Titanic. We're being encouraged, as you said, uh, like as before when we were being encouraged, when I was being encouraged. Uh, I don't feel like I'm the same kind of person as um, I don't want to mention name. He came up a little bit yesterday, and I met him at 5'5", and maybe to people who watch what people watch on the internet, I looked like someone is similar. You know, I used to patronize Gavin McInnes. You know, I was a yearly subscriber to him, mostly because I thought he was too bad for Vice magazine. You know, I wasn't really into the whole Proud Boys kind of thing. I just thought he was too bad for Vice magazine, which was a cool ass magazine. Uh, and I liked, I liked the people around him and stuff. But I just mean like I'm similar to him in a lot of ways. Similar to people who are identified as white nationalists or whatever, I guess, just because that was, I'm trying to relate it, I guess, again to that woman. I end up, I don't know if it's because I'm principled, I fall into the underdog category. So like, even though I don't like what that woman was saying today, Stephen Miller's wife, I end up like seeing a woman sandwiched in there. And this is, I guess, my own vitriol. This is a off point because I still have a hard time. My hardest issue with Trump and with Elon and all these people is I just see the fragility of thin ice, and I do feel like the closest thing to a leader that I've seen in my lifetime, as far as who played president, was maybe Bush, but that Bush Senior. But that was only because I thought he was like, you know, a CIA guy who had something to do with the Kennedy assassination and all this stuff. But I've been all over the place here, and I thank you for asking me that question, James. And I wanted to talk about the Titanic because I really like that analogy, um, and rearranging the deck chairs because there is this paradox because the Titanic is also tillable. Like it's a huge deck. There might be so like we can still and the questions we're asking now, like what to do. I think about the Russian oligarchy that you were talking about earlier. They might have been in a point like right like after the Romanovs got butchered and their wealth got carved up, and then the USSR came in, and then like and then the USSR project was abandoned. Like eventually there was just a dead carcass of a nation there, and people had to pick up the pieces, and you get what we call an oligarchy. And again, like you said, they can be abused by us because they have yachts. Um, uh,
Has it ever
Thank you for
occurred
that.
to has it ever occurred to anyone that you could just like next time you see a world leader at a summit, like one world leader could just like fucking gut him, just like in the middle of the cameras, just gut him and pull open his chest and like cut him open and pull his heart out and just like we're civilized, so we don't do that. But this would be the cleanest, most patriotic thing that you could do as a leader. I'm not saying to go rip out someone's heart. I'm saying to go where you could have your heart ripped out. That would be fucking conviction. And you'd be using your words, man. You'd be making promises and using your words and relying on everyone else for that. And in a way we have that, but we only have that for the elite of the elite, the most jaguar. And you're looking at a everything's perfect. You're looking at the most vicious people in the world and their ability to wear the right uniform, the right camouflage in public to where all of us would accept them. Because I think that we would tear apart the ones. If you're going to go Vlad Impaler, I think the people would tear that guy down and they would say, you're going to have to be more sophisticated. We will give you the reins of the entire civilization, but you're going to have to be fucking civilized about it. You're going to have to work under the table. You're going to have to use Mossad. You're going to have to use the CIA. This is the only way we're going to accept it. And the entire world literally is saying we will allow this to happen as long as these things are met, except in Africa, except in this country I just told you about, except in Rio de Janeiro. That's not happening. You know where else is not happening? Venezuela. Venezuela, that president is exactly like our president, except for he's more polished. That's the only difference. The guy is more polished, is poorly polished. And his entire regime of the whole government's corrupt. And I'm like Brad looking at food snap people. I'm like, are you fucking high? Do you not think that our government is fucking? No, man, they fucking kill people. I'm like, are you fucking high? Do you not think our government? No, man, but they're like, they're working for the drug dealers. I'm like, have you not seen Big Pharma? Are you fucking high? The only thing difference between this is that the feathers on Manduro are not nearly as pruned, not nearly as sophisticated, and nowhere near as fucking beautiful as they are on our guy. Look at his plumage. My fucking God. Everyone wants that. Everyone, I'm just saying, it's all that. It's all seals. This is how great our seal is. This is how well. It should tell you something that Maduro still hasn't fucking learned English. It should fucking tell you something. That your biggest enemy in the world speaks English and you haven't gotten around to speak English yet. That's fucked up. That's not someone that's like, oh, I'm really looking out for my people. No, if you're looking out for your people, you're doing Duolingo every mother fucking day, dude. You're doing Duolingo. You're doing that, you know? So you get it. I know there's a hand. It's good to see everybody. Thank you.
I don't know if I even talked about accomplish anything with what I said. You mentioned the ice deaths being above people who've been executed by via death penalty, and it relates to me to what you're talking about Vlad the Impaler. If he's going to be himself, he's got to be more civilized. Civility does make things more expensive, and in that light, it's kind of concerning about how inexpensive it is for the government.
Yeah, it's
to
even
inflict
worse.
death.
Guys, 140 fucking humans disappeared from Alligator Island. I don't know what happened to them. I can't even put him in my total because if I do, AI's like, that's not true. You don't know that they're. And I'm just like, you motherfucker.
Nancy, thank you so much for your patience. Great to see you.
Good to see everybody. So if anybody else has something they want to say about all that, I'm going to change the topic. That's okay. So I'm going to shift gears here. I've been going through like so I was rejected. I think I mentioned it several weeks ago. I had somebody that just cut me off. And it was right around the time the whole Deb thing happened that I didn't really see till later. And, you know, I got to notice, and she really reached out to me, and I am speaking with her, but maybe once a week through text. I just want to share that. But I was looking at anyway, so this cutoff was, at first, I intuitively knew exactly what happened. It was like a projection, and this person's going through like a huge breakup from a toxic relationship. But then my human stuff came on board, and it was really cool because for the first time it was like I was stunned, but I wasn't mortal, I wasn't like how Deb was with Deb, you know what I mean? I was able to have more energy or more calories to look and observe. And so anyway, it took me on this journey that has been so cool. And I just feel like these things happen always for a reason. And I just did some really good introspective stuff. And it turned into a gift about a month later. It's been about 5 weeks. And it turned into this gift that helped me remember stuff from my childhood, like when I was 3, 4, 5, 6. I even had lunch with my older sister to see if am I remembering right? And she's like, oh yeah. So I realized that, we all had to be intimate and not feeling like we belonged. But I had this chaos of not feeling safe in my body, in my emotions, in my mind from little, because my sister was 10 years older. She went through puberty early, so she was 12. I was two. I mean, anyway, I just had all this like awareness come back and feelings because I'm really trying to like be with them more now. And I'm like, oh my God, it just brought back all that unsafety with my emotions. And but it turned into this gift that like I kind of like I literally with my imagination just took all back all my plasma. And because when I really care about somebody, I'm going to give you all of it, even if this happens, because I learned so much from giving and the boundaries. And I also remembered flags that I had about a year ago. So just, I feel like I'm just getting like richer and like, um, and it's so simple. I'm just letting myself, I have the time to just let myself, oh, I'm going to sit with this. And I do these journeys and I ask my body and I'm just sharing this because, with all that's going on, to me, that's the great work. We're doing our inner work. We're like really trying, because I think that's what's called, we're causing a lot of this dross, to come up in us, the world. And I just know we're doing a lot, even in our independent individual sovereignty. And I'm having fun. I'm like, I was on a little bit of a roller coaster, but even that was like, wow, I'm just feeling an awareness that's beautiful. I feel like I'm really like tapping into my heart. And now I'm gonna just keep railing. So I love each and every one of you. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for everybody's uniqueness and just beautiful, beautiful everything. So
Real quick, Nancy, you kind of blurred two people there, which is fine. Deb, uh, uh, Deb, Deb's a bundle of vitriol for herself and for others, and was in our group for a while, and um, kind of just really spilt a lot of stuff in the chat, and was constantly asking that anything be brought here, and it wasn't, and it came right after I was already had to sort of set a line with Gabby. I think I probably scared her off, which is, this is all vitriol. It's fine. I'm supposed to be doing a show. I'm supposed to be doing a show in a dojo. I'm not supposed to be like making sure everyone is happy with their linens. I can't do that. I can't do shit like that. And so when Deb was going off in the chat, she was sort of just throwing knives at anyone and everyone, and showed some kind of manipulative behavior. After I emailed her and said, "You got to go, and here's why. Here's the behavior that I'm saying that we can't have this." I'd never heard back from her, but I've had like maybe three or four people contact me and say that Deb has contacted them, and um, I think that's manipulative because she could have just replied to me. She could have just replied and said, "Here's what I think." Uh, been told many times that she feels she doesn't understand, she's confused, no one's told her anything. And that she's, she's stuck, and that's too bad. And I've had this happen so much that, believe it or not, I think the two people that Nancy's discussing I've had the same issue with in the same way. So it's very much a standard thing that we serve here. I have a soft serve ice cream machine right here, and unlike McDonald's, this fucking thing works. And all I do is you come in and you ask for a certain soft serve cone, and I just fucking give it to you. And then you're like, nah, and you throw it down, and I'm just like, I'm gonna have to ask you to leave. And you're like, you can't tell me to leave. And I'm just like, this is what people do. They actually come here they don't come to buy the cone. I used to think that years ago. I was like, they're here for this, for the cone, and my cones suck. No, it's fucking good ice cream. This is not what they're here for. They're here for this experience. They want to feel this way. You want to feel chewed up sometimes, and it's really hard sometimes. I sometimes it's really hard. And Deb is desperate. Her energy is at such a level where she's willing to throw knives, and she only has so many. and she's going to have to throw that knife just right. I hope that you can hear. I'm telling you how I love her. This is how I love her. I'm telling you, this is what it is. I'd be telling you the same thing if I'm like, hey guys, check this out. I found this porcupine. Fucking mean as hell. You ready for this? He's in my bathtub. You're gonna need to put on this catcher's mitt. You're gonna need these gloves. This is me not saying I hate the porcupine. I swear to fuck. This is me saying I fucking love this guy. You need to wear these goggles, okay? And you're gonna need this. And come here, I'll show you. I swear to you, that's what I'm doing. And we live in a society that doesn't want people gutting each other at the World Summit and pulling out hearts, right? You want someone more sophisticated. And I am not sophisticated. I got too much to do. Just I'm selfish as fuck, and I'm gonna heyoka you guys and not always do it right. The last one was Lauren. Lauren wrote me the other day. I could tell Lauren has a very clear vibration in her cursive, like she's living calligraphy. And I'm reading her text, and I'm like, okay, I could tell Lauren's like, look, I don't even know if I should be telling you this. Like I'm not even saying. I don't know. I don't know. Here's the song that I heard from Deb, and it was the fourth chorus, fourth time, same as the first. And I said the same thing. It'd be great if Deb would write me. And it took Lauren to give Deb the courage to write me back, and she did. And good for Deb. She wrote me back, and I think, like fucking black belted it. Honestly, it was pretty awesome. I read it to, I think I may have read it to Renee. Really, really stunning letter of, uh, just here's where I'm at, and I was really impressed. And I don't think she could hold that pose long. I really don't. This is not like, oh, she's a whole new. No, she's not a whole new. This is a fucking porcupine, and she's got a knife. Like, and she needs a knife. She's gonna feel better if she has a knife. I worked in wilderness camp with these porcupines. I think they're fucking great, and also, and you seriously, you gotta fucking watch out. And so, um, I don't know how to block people well enough on Patreon. I can't do it on my phone. I could sort of do it. Yesy had given me instructions on how to do it. As soon as I got that email, I was just like, well, can I unblock her? And I did, but I didn't write Deb back. I was still thinking about it. But she tried the door on her own, and she tried the door like 3 hours later. So like, she's, that porcupine is fucking hungry. And that porcupine needs to be in here. And some of you rightly have disagreed. Some of you have been like, I don't think this is a good idea. And I agree with you. I agree with you. And that's why I didn't write her back saying it's okay. But I did open the door, not see, it doesn't send her a notice that she's been unblocked. Do you understand? It doesn't do that. It cancels her Patreon, gives her back her money. It like depends on where it is, and then she's gone. That that is data too. And I've held at least two shows offline, not shared them publicly that I wish I could have shared because of this porcupine. Like I've lost a lot on that. I've also lost a lot on this other person Nancy's talking about, where I've just had to watch her just constantly just drive by, light a bottle on fire, fucking just throw it at the window and drive on, and then convince people in the parking lot that I'm a fucking arsonist kind of shit, just like that. This is why you're gonna need people at the top that are willing to dope, that are willing to, man, you gotta want it here. I gotta want to come in every day, and as soon as I get here, there's a bunch of like spray painted penises everywhere, and just like shitty comments and broken bottles, and the flowers are gone again, and just stuff like that. And it more happens a lot of times on the inside where people that I think I trust, I come in and I'm just like, oh my God, really? And they're just like taking a dump right on the rug. And they're doing that. They're like, you see me, watch me do it. And I'm just like, God, it just happened to one of us. I'm not even going to say the name. I'm trying not to say the name because I've done this a while. This is just how it goes. So I have to constantly kind of even understand that I need compost. Oh, I need compost, Renee. It's like we need it. And it's sometimes I'm like, yeah, let the porcupine in. And Deb's magic is strong. And we should probably hang out. Don't bring balloons in here. Don't bring anything that's poppable. Deb has made that off limits. The shit she said in the chat is completely fucked up, man. And she says it in chat because she can fucking get away with it. Just like Rose 777. I'm sorry, but just the exact same fucking MO. And that same MO is in the wilderness camp. It's in the wilderness kids. I know it well. And I do not mean to bring you to that jungle, but how fucking fitting is it after what Lori said that I'm telling you this is a porcupine friendly house, that the dojo has porcupine in it. Porcupine.
So can I ask a question, James? And I have, like, I would love to welcome Deb back in. I got a lot from the alchemy of the porcupine. And it's not anything that I can't alchemize. So what's the difference between him and her and Steve?
It's such a great question. You're asking me, right?
Yep.
Um, the thing that bothers me about Steve is not actually Steve. The issue, Steve is a contrarian by nature, and I don't think that I would have lasted this long had I not already known that. Like I resonate with him in that way. His contrarian is very annoying. It's very in my mind it's very psychopathic because he doesn't emotionally tap into certain things. Snap's a perfect example of this. It's like he just doesn't see that there's an emotional, hey, you can plug your emotions in right now. What I'm trying to say is that none of this is why. All this I accept about Steve. This is his porcupine, if this makes sense. But like it really is. Um, Steve's witness is an important part of my life, and Steve is constantly seeing me next to Jason Brashears is the same. And he gives Jason Brashears just as much witness as he gives me. And probably more, honestly. Probably more. And I I just I just don't know why we keep listening to people that have morally, socially, morally, legally, all these things, done things like insert. I just don't know why we don't have any kind of threshold at all. And it makes me want to quit. I don't want to do what I do when I know that I'm catering to people like Steve because he's gonna open his mouth and eat shit. And he's going to do that more than he's going to listen to me. And he's going to occupy my time. He's going to occupy my table. And he's going to say things to me like, oh, it's too bad you can't do what he did about this or about that or whatever. I don't want to do this anymore because I lose respect for the audience. I fucking hate that audience. I It's the same thing as looking at the ice people on X and just watching everybody laugh and say, "Oh, let's get another one," and just cheering on all the stuff. It's the exact same audience in my mind, and I don't want to entertain those people. And um, it's just too debilitating to be his friend. It's more of like you are the company you keep, and if we want to look at exactly why it's Jason, I got a lot of people that I know watch Owen. I don't like it, but I don't have that same kind of. I probably should, honestly. I probably should, but I don't have the exact same kind of like, look, I'm not going to. I have 2 degrees of separation between people that I think are knowingly, fraudulently doing something wrong. Jason Brashears is one of those. But I think I've probably lost count. There are so many people in this realm that do what I do that are that way. I don't think that I would be able to survive if I pointed them all out. I point out a lot of them.
But isn't this the world that we're living in, that we're in? I mean, I'll go out into the world and there's the people, that's limited amount of people that are as awake as I, maybe,
Mhm.
no, maybe not as awake as I am. Some of them watch that person, and there's nothing I can do to change that except pollinate more. And so if we're pollinating porcupines, why isn't Steve a porcupine? He's your biggest porcupine. Maybe Deb is mine, you know? And I need to have porcupines in my life so I can level up. And
Yeah, I agree. I need to have porcupines in the audience. I do not need to have them in the cockpit.
I think you
I hope
mentioned
that doesn't sound like a disagreement, because I'm saying that there was a time when I was much more stringent, Lori, when I was more like, I don't even want these guys. I want to shame anyone who listens to this person would be what I would want to do. And I would try that. I would actually say it. I'd like to take a few moments to shame the fuck out of you if you listen to this. I've literally done that. And I've learned how uncompassionate that is. But then I've also been like, but why do I do this? And it's because I want a boundary. I don't I don't want certain people in my house. I had a guy named Adam sleep in my house, and I deeply regret that, because when I think more about what he is, I feel violated. I feel like I violated myself because he was in my house. It, it's more like that. It's more about me as a performer who's always trying to show you all this stuff. I still have to have this place that doesn't have fucking porcupines in it, because I will never digest. I will never want to come out and do this for a living. I don't want to I don't want to normalize what Steve does. And more importantly, I don't want to have to constantly be thinking about the fact that it probably sounds dramatic, but it just characterizes. I just picture that victim seeing that name on YouTube, and just it really gets to me. It's not just her. It's just this happens everywhere, and I feel a lot of it probably has to do a little bit maybe with my ex, but it's actually not just my ex. My entire life growing up, I've been surrounded by a hyena culture that feeds the very people that have perpetrated and done horrible things to me or to someone else. And I think this resonates because I see it here. And if I can't pollinate Steve, I don't know if I'm making the world better. I don't know. I don't know if I'm doing my part to pollinate. If I'm just going to be, well, look, I need more porcupine, so I need to let these guys, maybe Deb shouldn't be here. I don't know what's right. This is why I didn't write her. This is why I didn't write Deb and said you can come back. I don't know how to proceed. Um, because if I don't like my audience, I'll do what happened when 5-5 after 5-5. I'll just stop streaming, and I'll almost die. As far as like my career, not me. I was doing great. I was just like, God, so glad I'm not around those fucking pieces. That's how I was. I was just so relieved that I was like, look, I'm gonna, you know, slip away deeper into poverty, but fuck, I'm so glad to not be around those fucks. That's how I felt. I was just like, God, I'm just so glad that that's not here. And I'm not trying to be more dramatic than I already said. I'm not trying to be dramatic, but honestly, if Renee wouldn't have done what she did, I wouldn't be here right now. Like I was just like, I don't like the audience. I don't like these people. I why do you have to keep coming into the air? Why do you have to keep finding the inner workings of what I do and waiting for me to walk in so you can take a shit and look at me in the eye? Why is this a constant thing that keeps happening? I don't want to do this. Who would want to do this? Who would want to have a comfortable rug here? Who the fuck would want to do that? And the answer is not me. So for me, it's much more personal, probably because I'm more connected to Steve's heart, if that makes sense. And it's precisely because of that, it ends up being a kind of kryptonite. It's very confusing though, Lori. I don't have an answer. I don't even know what I'm supposed to do. like as far as like, what is my purpose in life and stuff. I you know, yeah.
Thanks.
Thank you also, Nancy, for bringing up some personal issues around, or to get around what we've been talking about the wider world, and helping us all to see that there's as much personal vitriol, and I think they are all related. I can see Deb's demographic as well as Steve's demographic out there in the world, as among these players in this milieu as it's shaken out. I don't know the second person that you and James are referring to, but I don't need to demystify that. I can still relate to having created more personal relationships through the group, and then even to see what happens to those relationships once people come and go. And I would, without addressing what one or person or the other doesn't have, I just want to say that I appreciate everyone here. I really feel like is strong enough to provide the sense of reciprocity within the group, however it's accomplished. I don't know, monetarily or spiritually, or just with other folks' encouragement. I really feel like everyone here is able to maintain a reciprocal relationship with the dojo, and that's appreciated. Brad, thanks for waiting. Go ahead.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that the fascinating thing to me, I'll go back to first start here, going back to for me personally, as far as the almost everything in terms of that safe space, you know what I'm saying? My safe sort of space, if you know what I'm saying. It's like that boundary is like, to me, it's like, and that's where I always go back to anytime something that I need to sort of process that's happening with the world out there, you know what I'm saying? And that's a hard and firm boundary. And so the interesting thing to me with like Steve and Deb and those characters like that, you clearly see how people, like in Deb's case, want to crucify themselves. Do you know what I'm saying? Like it's kind of very clear that was kind of what she was asking for. And thing is, I have no interest in participating in that with her. Do you know what I'm saying? So I connected with her and we texted a little bit too, just to sort of, I had no problem witnessing her and giving her some witness, but I gave her back exactly what I thought and exactly what I saw and exactly what I didn't agree with. And I told her explicitly that I don't think if she were to come back in, that she needs to clean up. She can't go spraying everywhere, or that's just not that's not, I don't agree that that's should be in the room. Do you know what I'm saying? But the very fact that Deb can be rebuked, Steve can be rebuked, and you can still see how much they want to be a part of the energy, that to me is kind of a testament to the fact that even if not on a conscious level, that what they recognize, they do recognize what's, for example, Deb reluctantly acknowledged the things I kept saying, but I had to keep saying them maybe a couple times, right? But she would finally have to own and acknowledge it. And it's like, that's where I see like, and I'm selfish with my time too. I've learned to do that over time. It's like, I'm not going to just give you 100% all the time, but it's like, if I see that you really are, and I think this is the difference with someone like a difference between like a Bashir's, like you're talking about James, and maybe like Steve. I don't know Steve as personally, but the sign that he still wants to come back here is like Bashir's. I agree with you. I think completely knows he's like that fraudulent. But almost I'm wondering if Steve and like Deb, it's like they really do want to try, but they're not very freaking good at it. They're a little scared, and it's kind of like, and so when you mentioned that, Cameron, the people in this room, that's what the thing to me is. It's been interesting to see the cycle of people want to crucify themselves, because I've seen it I've been around long enough to see it in several people. But like you, Cameron, Nancy, Lori, Renee, Lauren, Clinton, James, it's like, that's what I'm saying. It's like the like, I trust you guys, and I would be kind of shocked to see any of you take shit on the rug. You know what I mean? Like that, I would agree. I have not been surprised to see the people that did take a shit on the rug, frankly. But I do just think that the idea of the porcupine is definitely something, and just my opinion. Yeah, I agree with what you're saying, James, totally. It's like, it's okay in the audience. It's the same like with calling in on the Zoom, right? If you want to be in the audience and just listen, that's great. And if your whole way to do it is to be that kind of way. But like you say, to be on the crew, to actually come into the Zoom room, come to the room, it's like, have enough of a posture about yourself, like you say, to respect what's going on in the room, I guess.
Let me just say this real quick, because I
Yeah.
really want to hear what Renee has to say. And thank you, Brad. But Lori's, her rays are hitting me hard, and I there's the reason why I originally rejected Steve on the show was because he just kept wanting to push that guy's work. That's what it was. And I I may just not be meant for this. I honestly don't. I there's no way to. He won't talk to me. He won't fucking debate me. All I can do is watch henchmen come in and fucking tell me really retarded shit sometimes. And I wish I wasn't so mad about it, but it's like, it's so retarded. And
Yeah.
it
And I
really
think you're
does.
right about
I
telling me
wish
not
that
to
I
bring
was stronger. I don't know if I wish I was stronger, because I don't want to be that good at this. Like, I don't want to be that good. I'd rather be like, man, but I don't think this is right. It's the Muppet Show model, but I also want a really tight jazz band. And the people that are in the fucking jazz band, look, Zeke and his boomerang fish, who the fuck knows what's going to happen when that dude goes out on stage? But when you and I fucking go out on stage, it's going to be fucking tight. That's what I want. I want the freedom to be able to do that without the guilt. But I still got to be Kermit. I still have to come out and go, oh, look, it's the Jason or whatever. It's not even just him. I could tell you other things the same way. There's other things. And I lose money all the time. There's a drunk guy that used to come. I'm calling him a drunk guy because he's a real piece of shit. This guy just comes on board and gets all super community all the time. His name's Joey Mungo. And he's just like, right on, man. I'm going to show you this to my kids and do all this stuff. And then he falls off the wagon and he just starts sending me emails about what a piece of shit I am and how much I suck and all this. And it's fine, but it's like, he gets into my head when he's allowed to like swim around and like share the love and be all like kumbaya fucking ya. And I think he waits for that opportunity to fucking gut me when I'm coming out of the cabin when I'm just trying to pee in the middle of the dark. It's like that. It feels like that. And it's really hard to digest. It's really hard to be like, I don't want to be here. I I want to go find some. I get it. I'm not meant for this because I don't deserve to be captain, because I don't want it that bad. Because I'm not willing, because honestly, I could do this, but you know what I'd have to do is I'd have to be watching you fuckers every moment like a fucking hawk. That's the only way I'd do it. I'd have to be like all the time, just like who's going to drop next. And I could tell you, I could say 80% chance this person, 60% chance this person, wild card this, hold the fuck, who knows? And this thing, and you know, and just constantly radar contact, Dratus, 6 yards, 17 degrees, and then how am I supposed to do? I have to do everything on the show. I have to make the slides. I have to make the thumbnails. I'm not, I'm not bitching, but it's just like, fuck. And you have to watch your back because your patrons need to be able to fucking be able to stab you. And I'm just like, wait a minute. What? What? That's why when I told Joey when he came back, oh, I'm just like, dude, you're a drunk ass, rude motherfucker. And you just gave me $55. And you're a drunk ass, rude motherfucker. And I don't like what you did. And I don't want you coming here thinking I owe you shit, because the first thing he did when he joined is, how come you don't reply to my comments? It's like, why would I reply to your comments? Why would I pretend that you have a fucking mouth after the shit that's come out of it? Oh, it's hard. I'm not really appreciate you, Lori. This isn't an answer. You know that. This is not, I'm not like, oh, this is what I don't fucking know. This is just,
It's the Titanic, James. I get it. It fucking hurts. I get it. Go ahead, Renee. I'm like, I don't mean to call you out, Cameron, but I want to hear what Renee has to say.
Yeah. After 5-5, it became pretty apparent that we had to do a little bit of housekeeping within the chat, which was Telegram back then. A lot had gone on that was undealt with. I think Bill James remembers was an issue that we just needed to get rid of, and you had to come out pretty strong. It was a very tight group. Not very many people were willing to do it. I was, because I went to 5-5 and I saw the type of work that James did. So the spill out after that was dramatic. And you just kind of had to keep rolling with it. Now, as far as like Venus goes, she wants a table set that she wants to be at. If there's bullshit there, they get out. You know what I mean? Venus, she should get more than what we can deliver. You know what I mean? So you want a place where people want to come and feel comfortable, like Brad was saying, like, how can we open up here? We have people who are going to be here to sabotage or to, Deb said that I wasn't worth being here because I was a hairdresser. Who does Renee think she is? Because she's a hairdresser. So this is what tells me, like, oh, I knew people use it all the time, but to see someone this close to me thinking that, it's so telling and it's beautiful because I see where her shadow is. And, she can come back. She cannot get on the air. I will not let her on this ship, not in the dojo. She can be on Patreon. And if she one step out of line, she's fucking out. Okay. Steve, I met him at 5-5 too. And, he does have a good heart, but he takes advantage of situations. He likes to see his James explain, like when he's kind of like in this, say manic state, Steve will go in and throw in some bullshit. And James is like, oh, great. Like here you are coming in, trying to promote yourself. And he tried to promote himself a lot on in the dojo. When I was moderating more regularly, whenever he came out, I'm like, oh shit, what's he gonna say now? I don't want to feel like that. So I think it's good to cut people and get the fuck out of here. If he wants to be in Patreon, and that's fine, but you're not coming on the ship. If you have some bullshit in the chat, you're out. It's just going to be that simple because we are the Aquarium Bridge. The Aquarium Bridge Club. I thought that was pretty fun. The Aquarium Bridge Club and the Rainbow Bridge is so involved in that. And we're creating new colors. We're remembering colors right now. And to have these polarities hum, they have to both be really intense. If you want to have that bridge, you have to have this really intense polarity that's just humming at this, that's where we have the people in the Zoom with Brad and I yesterday. That was very graphic. And I'm glad I didn't see what was on that screen. I'm glad I didn't, because it was very graphic, but that also shows us where we are. You know what I mean? So I was thinking about love and hate and how those people, whether it be XYZ, who cares? It could be anyone from the previous couple of years. The amount of attention they put into getting into that position and putting that type of really filth up on the screen was almost like an example of love to me. It was bizarre. Like they love
trumps hate
so much. Right. Exactly. So it was just, there is a lot in the field. I know we also have something going on with another person that's been in our group, Yesenia. That's a little, that's pretty fresh here. But yeah, I really find this work very important. So, it's good that it's clear and we're speaking about these things sooner than later. I appreciate that. Thanks for bringing it up, Lori.
Can I add just real quick to echo both Renee and James, what you're saying, and also with like with Yesenia, because I'm one with her, because this is a clear point too. It's like I love Yesenia, but to the point here, that the jazz band I want to play in, exactly to your point, Renee, there has to be the level of trust there, and that's the thing. To be frank to Yesenia, she's not ready yet to play that level of jazz, and so I'm sorry for her. That's like I think she does okay in dojo, but I did see that when we tried to start playing together creatively, she's just not ready to she's not at that level yet. So I agree with both of you are saying to actually be in the band, it's like you're gonna have to be solid. So that's all I wanted to add.
Thank you, Brad. Not yet aware of anything with Yesenia, but
she just felt a little bit.
Has jumped on board and said, I want to be executive producer of the show Dojo Earth. And that was right after I told her, don't do that yet. I need you to be real loosey goosey. That was the words, because my girlfriend's coming to town and got a lot going on, and I don't want to create, plan, or plot or do a show. She was like, fuck that. And she went full bore. This is what's happening. And wrote stuff. She feels like that she was ignored. I think she was ignored. But also in the middle of those ignoring it, there was the Sulu chair incident where she thought I called her sewage, and then she's just left the bridge for the entire flight. So we could have had someone in the cockpit there who really wanted to be on the show. That was the only public strike you guys saw. There's actually been a couple different things that aren't really as important, except for I asked Yesenia if she would publicly somehow say that she wasn't going to do it. I told her that it was very deflating for her to take that flame from anyone else. And then she didn't like me telling her that. She started throwing some pins of her own, real spicy. That little Cuban girl is some real spicy claws. Not gonna lie. And I felt the way I felt again, which is like, you fucking fuck, James, you gaslit her. She wasn't. You gave her too much. That was fucked up. And holy fuck, she's waiting to watch me see her shit on the carpet. So like it was the way she was talking to me. It was rude as fuck. And I said, you know what? I don't want you to have this close, because I don't like when she texts me personally. I've always said, I don't know why you can't just do this in Dojo. I usually do that, but I finally, after that last one, I was like, I don't want you texting me anymore. You know, that was the only boundary I set, is I don't want to have this kind of intimacy with you anymore. And she had already said, I don't want to do the show. I just want to be a patron, which is there. I see nothing wrong with saying that, with saying you overstep your bounds, but she really did steal that flame. She took it away from anyone else, and it's a lot harder to explain. It leaves room for, well, James, what the hell did you do wrong? Yesenia said I've done everything wrong, and that I'm just a failure. I'm a shitty bar owner, is what she called me, or something, and that I'm just serving a bunch of whatever. But that's what happened. And this is why I don't like shit that happens outside. No one is ever going to see the right side. No one's ever going to know the whole story. You guys don't even get to know how Yesenia felt. I've been hoping she would have showed up today. I was still hoping today. Maybe she'll fucking show up and just clear the air instead of making me do it. And it's rightful case to ask. We would need to ask. She came in and said, I'm the executive producer of the fucking show, and you guys need to look at this and do this and do this and do this. And that's, you can't be in a fucking band like that, man. We got a fucking show to do, and we got 3 weeks to learn all the rules, you know, blah, blah, blah. I'm going to stop talking now. You get it. But that's what happened, to just so you guys know. You deserve to know. You have to know. I had to find a way to tell you anyway. I had to find a way to explain this just so you know what's going on. So I'm glad it came up. Everything's off guard, and I really appreciate, I think Renee's sort of like Lieutenant Worf, security officer, and she's, every single time she's been right, every single fucking time. And not once have I seen her enjoy her job. Not fucking one time have I seen her relish in what she has to do. And so I'm
Second
glad
that,
she
James.
weighed in. Yeah.
Without being in any sort of proximity to her, I'm a total outsider, but I got to say that, yeah. I have a hard time even talking about someone like Steve or someone like Deb, because Renee mentioned sabotage earlier. James, yesterday when you were looking for a word and people were throwing out troll, that was what I was thinking, saboteur. And as far as like someone going and gutting someone, like gutting a Stephen Miller, like before he walks in, like that would make Stephen Miller to me like the zero touch saboteur, because that's why I fear talking about Steven or fear talking about Deb, because I don't want to galvanize them against the group, or because I feel like their exit actually galvanized the group a little bit, and that to me proves it was a good thing. But just Renee, the way you handle it, the way you speak on these things, it's always an excellent touch. And I've been bouncing around on an exercise ball. Thank you for everything you do. And I'm going to friendly remind everyone that we've got about 8 minutes left. And Sarah, great to see you. Thanks for raising your hand. What's you got?
Hi, sure. Let's see. I'll start off with, and if I can remember my trains of thought, I love Lori's analogy of arranging furniture, arranging the whatever the furniture on the Titanic when it's going down, and that made me make the connection between I realize when I'm anxious, I am looking around to what can I straighten. Is this crooked? Is that crooked? Is that out of place? And it's an attempt to make some sort of order, have some sort of personal control when we see this greater ship going down. And perhaps we all have different ways of doing that, different ways of arranging that furniture and trying to maintain some semblance of control. Um, and I was thinking of the band. I like this idea, and I'm thinking of the difference between those that want to work cooperatively and respectfully in a band with a group of people, and those that want to pull everyone into a boxing ring and that are in a mode of competition and feel threatened. Either I'm going to bring you down, because if not, you're going to bring me down. And it reminded me of the energy I used to go to. There's something called the Goodwill bins, and it's just these huge bins set out in a huge room, and it's by the pound. And when they bring out new bins, everybody crowds around it like this, like vultures, ready to like grab everything. And there are some like dudes there from Africa who's going to send stuff back to their communities, and they have their own big bins, and they're just like this. And it's pretty overwhelming, and I can feel that energy of competition, and I have to counteract it with the knowing that everyone will get what they need. What we need is going to come to us, and I don't need to be in that energy of competition. I don't need to be in the boxing ring. Um,
Just like a bird feeder.
like a bird feeder. So do we want to be, yeah, oh, right. Do we want to be the goldfinch, as you said? I'm not going to be that Jewish goldfinch. Or or the other birds that are just, getting what they can, what they find, what suits them.
Chickadee dee dee.
And in terms of like navigating this ship going down, I have a pretty hard time being out there unless I'm in the forest, unless I'm home, like making stuff and not fighting with my sewing machine and the needle. Um, and it's really hard for me to witness the drop in consciousness. And it's a real stretch that I'm not able to reach for most of the time that nothing is broken, because a lot still looks really broken to me. And I have a line from that famous Psalm 23, that line, and I resonate with the Hebrew, so I say these in Hebrew because I know it, where it's although I walk in the valley of the shadow of death, I will feel no evil, because that's what it feels like. And I wonder about this dichotomy between this extreme lowering of consciousness while there's simultaneously been an extreme raise in consciousness. And I wonder if there's some balance, some equilibrium that's always needed, that if it's lower, it's got to go higher in another sector, and vice versa. I think that's all I have.
You think you're onto something there, Sarah, as far as uh, balance is always fulfilled. And I do think that anytime, or, as above, so below, to speak in a vernacular that I don't feel very accomplished in. There's a lot to face out there, and I tell myself when I see what looks like a lowering of, or I don't know, I don't know if I feel like the consciousness is lowering, as much as I feel like I'm just getting to see more low conscious raising up. But whenever that person, that saboteur, came into the dojo yesterday, I didn't see the video. I just all I heard was the audio, but I could feel the intent yesterday. And for me, at least, it was bone chilling, and I don't know why, because maybe it's just maybe it's just clownery. I don't know, but for me, it was bone chilling. Just the feel of it, that again, like James said, it was loaded up, right on the trigger just to be fired off at a moment's notice, and that's I got a lot left to face that to grow a little to desensitize to, I think maybe, or I don't know. Uh, it was quite the experience. Um, James, I see you have your hand raised. Thank you very much. Go right ahead, sir.
Broken is the birth of teleology. Broken is the birth of teleology. The moment you notice something is broken, you've developed a power called teleology. The power of teleology is to look at something and know, holy shit, this is a watch. It was made by a creator who wanted to know what the fuck time it was. And the realization that it's a watch is a teleology. That's the teleological looking at the universe. People will say the universe is made by God because I'm a teleologist. Because when I look at the world, I see that it has a purpose and that it was abandoned or it's broken or something. So the art of seeing that something's broken is a teleology. It's a part of your conscious awakening. It's the first crack in the egg, right? Because you're like, dude, the egg's not supposed to be cracked. And you've been licking the egg the whole time. You've been licking because you felt what was a hair on the edge of the egg. And you were inside the egg. And you're like, hey, what's that hair? And then you lick it. You're like, oh, that's interesting. And then you're doing other stuff. Then you keep licking that hair. And the more you lick that hair, the more it turns into a crack. And this is what it means to be born. You have to discover the brokenness. You have to develop the courage to find the brokenness of things. And this is what makes this beautiful. I don't want perfection from any act on the stage except mine. I want my act to be really intense. I want the people that play with just when I'm on stage, that's all. When I do karaoke, I want to fucking trust Brad. I want to trust Renee. I want to know for fuck's sake. I don't need you to do it right. I need you to be as intensely imaginative as I am. We are playing hard as fuck. Right? I mean, seriously. We're playing fucking these army men, man, and you gotta take this seriously, man. We're really playing. I just that's how I play. That's how I don't want to be on stage if I'm not doing that. I understand others want to do that. I don't want to take that away. It's very hard to wear both masks and feel okay. This is why I don't have a band. When I was in my 20s, I was always like, man, we're going to form a band. It's going to be badass. But people could not be in a band with me because I was fucking intense, man. I was just like, we're going to make a band. It's going to be the band. And it was never about perfection. It was about enthusiasm. I don't want anyone to spoil the enthusiasm. It's the most sacred thing I have. That if I can walk in and be like, man, I have tuned this shit on this guitar. I've got all my audio right. What the fuck is next? That's just how I'm autistic that way. I just really get into it. That's why I like Transformers, man. It's just fucking cool. I don't want to change that. It's going to terrify people. They're going to be scared away. They're going to be like, you're in too intense. You can't talk to me that way. Jesus Christ, if I had $1 for every time someone, I wouldn't need patrons. If I had $1 for every time someone said, you can't talk to me that way. And this is, I don't think that you'd be able to be on stage if you didn't have this much enthusiasm. And I think some people hold against me the very power that they come to me and give me money for. You know? So I don't know. I know the time's up, but I in my gut right now, which changes all the time, I feel like a noon until 2:30 show every day would be a really cool thing to do. and it's tiring to do it by myself. It's boring to only have me on the screen. I also think that it's the awakening, the Aquarian Civil War, and it's really important that not just the typical talking heads. I like the idea of callers, of things like that. Some of the callers are secret agents underground that have planned things. Some have child porn, are gonna fucking yell shit. And but mostly there's a core group that I can mostly trust, that I know at least 85% of the time. After a lot of practice, we have to set this. People aren't going to believe this. If you want to build a fire, you have to do it alone first. And then you have to do it the next month exactly at the same time. And then you have to do it again. And if you do it those 3 times, you've shown the turtle, I'm thumping a worm, bitch, right here. You're thumping the worm. You're giving her 3 moons notice. Now she knows when to tap in and give you that energy. I'm willing to do 3 moons of hosting calls and just seeing what happens and not expecting much. And then I will be spent probably. And I will be like, okay, I tried. And so during that time, let's fucking go. Let's fucking do this, man. Let's roar. Yeah, Renee. Let's roar. And I don't want anyone to give me shit for being this intense. I am in kiss makeup. How the fuck do you expect me to act? I have to be intense. These claw heels are at least 12 inches off the ground, covered in fucking makeup, sweating like a bitch. I have a tongue extension because my tongue isn't that fucking big. I have to be, I would not be able to do this if I could not be this intense. And I think a lot of people know how vulnerable that is, because that's a vulnerable place to be. So if you guys like that idea, if you don't, I would love to know. I don't think this, but if I could like every day do maybe like 50 minutes on my, like really bring something, but also just if there's callers, great. If there's not, I think it'd be a great show if all of a sudden I did end it because there were no callers. I think that would be just as effective during this priming time, because it would make someone go, well, oh, wait. Well, I was watching that. Fuck, I got a fucking forklift over here and there's nothing else to do while I'm forklifting. That's great. And just like when I built the New Moon Fires, just like when I'm stomping 19 times like a fucking idiot alone, I'm doing that because that's the only way to do it. And so if this is right, this is maybe what we're going to try. And I needed 3 weeks ago. I thought Yesenia was on board. She's not on board. She's not fucking on board for this. But a lot of you guys are, and this is what I want to try. This is what I want to do. And so if this works, and I could change tomorrow. I've had this for weeks though. I'm sharing it with you now, but I've had this thought for weeks, and I've been studying other people, which is one of the most boring things I've ever done. But I want to be in the Aquarian Civil War. I want us to have a big ass fucking cannon that just throws the lobs these consciousness balls. And I want to watch people get hit in the face and just watch the spooge of our beautiful spores just hit everyone and make them feel awful sometimes and great sometimes. And I want to frequency prankster the fuck out of this country. And I want to elicit you for my militia. And I want us to be as intense as we can, but only when I'm on stage. It's only when we're playing right there, it's only that. So
Excuse me, can we say passion is pretty much the same as intensity?
yeah, exactly.
Okay. I think it's just passion.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Although just passion, that's kind of hard to say, just and then passion. Yeah. Yeah. The passion of the je suis.
I thought the Thursday show seemed well received, and so I think that it kind of made it. I feel like people watch your show anyways, and I just tell myself they do it secretly in some way that doesn't show you numbers. But I felt like there was some accessibility with the live show that I think encouraged and emboldened people who might just like to watch from behind the scenes to partake. So sounds like a great idea, James. We're a little bit over, guys, about 8 minutes over. I just want to thank everyone for being here today. Sarah, you too, Lori, everybody who raised their hands today and contributed. Wonderful to see everybody. We'll unmute and say goodbye. And I'll wish everybody happy Halloween and have a great weekend.
Happy Halloween!
Happy Halloween, guys.
Post some Halloween. I'm going to start my pumpkin today. I'll post it.
Oh, I see.